Everyone's talking about it. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, casting Shockwaves. Chris Nolan did an interview. I would describe it as kind of a puff piece. It's a profile, not really going into depth all that much in terms of pressing him. But Chris Nolan has been dreaming of The Odyssey for more than 20 years. In fact, he was a director that was up to direct Troy with Brad Pitt, and was unable to do that project. We're going to focus on the casting aspect of this because that's what's causing shockwaves. I don't know. Do you have notes for this, or
I think so. I guess this is the Christopher Nolan on the Odyssey.
Yes, let's hear it. Here is quotes.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey features one of the most star-packed ensembles of his career, with the casting designed not just for spectacle, but to deepen the emotional and psychological complexity of Homer's epic. At the center is Matt Damon as Odysseus, the war hero struggling to return home after the Trojan War. Nolan believes Damon was uniquely suited for the role because audiences naturally empathize with him, even when his characters are flawed. Nolan's Odysseus is not a clean-cut hero, but arrogant and duplicitous, making Damon's warmth essential to keeping audiences invested. Anne Hathaway plays Penelope, Odysseus' wife, and Nolan dramatically expanded the character beyond the passive figure many readers remember from Homer. Hathaway says she was surprised when she realized Nolan had written Penelope as Odysseus' equal. Oh, thank God, finally. Rather than simply waiting for her husband's return, this version is full of fury, with Hathaway describing her as this volcano of a human that was just simmering. Hathaway and Damon approached the film as a sweeping love story about soulmates enduring decades apart. Several supporting roles reinterpret iconic mythological figures with more nuance. Samantha Morton Circe, the sorceress who transformed men into animals, but Nolan humanizes her beyond the archetypal enchantress from the poem. Meanwhile, Lupita Nyong'o plays Helen of Troy, with Nolan complicating her reunion with Menelaus after the war. In the surprising dual role, Nyong'o also plays Helen's sister, Clytemnestra, who's
work on your Greek, Alan. You got to work on your Greek.
Who disastrous marriage to Agamemnon, I know that one, becomes the darker mirror to Odysseus and Penelope's relationship. One of the most unexpected casting choices is Travis Scott, who plays the bard. Nolan says he cast the rapper because Homer's epic was originally oral poetry passed down through performance. I wanted to nod toward the idea that this story was being handed down as oral poetry, which is analogous to rap, Nolan explains. Ancient Greece meets stadium tour energy under an IMAX sky. The cast dynamics also reflect Nolan's directing style. He avoids using a director's chair and physically stays beside the performer during difficult shoots. Damon compared it to being in combat beside a commanding officer. There's something really nice about being a soldier in a foxhole and looking over and the general is right next to you. The overall impression is that Nolan's assembled the cast less like a typical Hollywood blockbuster lineup and more like a trope for a mythic stage play. Recognizable stars choosing because they could bring emotional gravity, vulnerability, and moral complexity to characters who have survived nearly 3,000 years.
Let's talk about the controversial castings. I mean, he can... couple things. Travis Scott as a bard, telling stories and trying to draw some analogy with rap. It's terrible.
Yeah, word.
I don't like that idea. It kind of takes you out of it. Like, I have never seen an episode of Bridgerton, but I've seen trailers for Bridgerton, and it pops up. And every time I look at it, I go, I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. I'll defend now Nolan for this. I get where he's going. He's casting Lupita Nyong'o because to the Greeks, her different. The fact that she looks different, a different kind of beauty, would mean that she's exotic to the Greeks. So that's what I'm interpreting Nolan's thinking is. Will it work? I think the chances are good that it will not work, but I'm trying to explain what I believe his thinking to be and his justification for her casting. The other casting, Elliot, Ellen Page, whatever you want to say. I mean, they worked together before, on Inception, which I really love that movie, Inception. I love the dream within a dream. I mean, it's also, you're starting to see that Nolan tropes. I don't know who Ellen Page is playing, so I don't want to really react to that. Could be some random spirit, someone from the spirit realm. We don't know yet, but I think, and let's see. Look, people are calling him out. Elon Musk called out this casting as being kind of cowardly. Here from Variety, Elon Musk attacks the Odyssey again and claims Christopher Nolan cast Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy because he wants the awards. Well, I mean, he doesn't need it. He's won the awards, but people are, and it's not just Elon Musk, okay? He's pointing out, I think, the obvious, what people are kind of tired of these race swaps and the sort of lack of authenticity. And here, look, even it's just all it's resulting in now is some really great memes. Check this out. This is Ellen Page as Achilles. Let's watch this real quick, Alan.
Oh my god.
Have you seen this?
No.
Oh no. Okay. Look, here's the thing. It might work and it might not. It really depends on how good the story is. But even there, I'm skeptical, and he's due for a bomb. And I'm skeptical because this is going to here. Look, I am used to old school, sword and sandal epics with people with British accents. I'm sorry. I know they were speaking Latin, some form of Latin or Greek, but I'm used to the British accents, like in things like I, Claudius and other Roman epics. And even I'm used to imperial evil people, having British accents. They have American accents and the dialogue is very kind of modern, in the scenes that we've seen. So I agree with the complaints, and I can hold two things in my head at the same time and say I'm still gonna wait to judge and see the film itself. Alan, what do you think? But I'll tell you this: if the I can't do that.
You do that. What do you think? No, I'm gonna go on for another 10 minutes.
Okay. But like, I gotta hear what you gotta say. But
okay, all right. I'm the person who has rarely ever been excited to see a Christopher Nolan movie. I think the Batman trilogy are the only three that I've really looked forward to. That being said, I do underestimate Christopher Nolan a lot, and he does over deliver sometimes. I'll give you Oppenheimer is the one that I completely wrote off until I actually watched it, and really like that movie. I am sad that the first movie I saw coming back from the pandemic was Tenet. And that ending, that last act, let's just say the last act, I was utterly confused. and still no one has been able to explain what the hell happened in that. I get what he was going for, but I just didn't see it. And that's kind of how I feel about Prestige. Yes, I didn't know anything about Prestige before seeing it, but once I did see it, I really liked it. So but I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to take the same attitude with the Odyssey. I will say that the first trailer of the Odyssey, I was really on board with this movie, and then they kept putting out trailers, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not. You're just ruining my excitement for this movie, and then now you muddle everything else with casting talk, and I'm like, well, yeah, I guess it could be the greatest casting in the world, or it could be the worst casting in the world. If I know Christopher Nolan, he could either pull it off and make a great movie, or he let the woke mind virus take over his brain and it'll be a horrible movie. So look, I think I'm in the greatest position for Christopher Nolan. I'm going in with very low expectations when I see this movie.